Welcome back. President Biden clinched the Democratic presidential nomination months ago. But as of right now, his name isn't on the ballot in Ohio. That's because his nomination isn't officially official until delegates meet at the Democratic National Convention. But the convention isn't scheduled until after Ohio's deadline to get on the ballot. Today, Ohio lawmakers are convening in Columbus after Republican Governor Mike DeWine called for a rare special session to attempt to resolve the issue. To be sure, this situation isn't unprecedented. In 2012, then President Barack Obama and presidential candidate Mitt Romney faced similar challenges in Ohio until the legislature stepped in and passed a procedural fix. But this time around, the simple fix is being held up by partisan politics. And we just learned that Democrats are not waiting around for the state to take action. Today, the DNC announced it will virtually nominate President Biden ahead of the convention to avoid missing Ohio's ballot deadline. Joining me now from Columbus, Ohio, is NBC News senior national political reporter Henry Gomez. So what more do we know, Henry, about the backup plan that the DNC appears to be moving forward with? And how are they reacting to what's happening in Ohio?
Well, Yamiche, what happened here is the DNC and the Biden campaign, they took a look at this Republican-dominated legislature in Ohio, and they realized they couldn't expect any favors from them, or let alone favors. They couldn't expect them to simply do what they've done in the past, and that's put President Biden on the ballot since he's going to be his party's nominee. So they, as you mentioned, they're going to have a virtual roll call beginning next week. We'll start to see a resolution go out that will ask and propose to change the rules, allow Biden to be virtually nominated, and then once that's approved by a full DNC membership, we'll move to a virtual roll call, which you may remember this process taking place back in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic when they had a virtual convention program every night. But this is being done rarely and early because the Republicans weren't going to play ball. So it really has been a stalemate here. You mentioned partisan politics at play, and that's absolutely what's gummed up the works here. And now we're just waiting to see if the DNC process can carry out and if it stands here with the Republican officials in Ohio.
And this is such an interesting situation. You talk about the fact that the Republicans weren't willing to play ball. So are the Republicans off the hook now? And what were they asking for in exchange for putting President Biden's name on the ballot?
Well, Governor Mike DeWine, who called this special session that we're at this week, he has said in a statement that was just put out about an hour or two ago that the Republicans in the legislature aren't off the hook. He still expects to see legislation from them by the end of the week on his desk. And DeWine and the Republicans want two things out of this special session. They do want the provision that will ease the deadline for Biden and put him on the ballot, but they also want legislation that would ban foreign money in state ballot initiative campaigns, as well as some other procedural campaign finance moves that Democrats feel are very onerous to citizen-led initiatives and ballot campaigns. This is what the Republicans say they needed in exchange for doing this favor for Biden. Senate Republican President Matt Huffman talked about how his members didn't want to go back to their districts and explain that they basically created the environment for Biden to get on the ballot without having something tangible in return. So that's really what's been at play. Deep partisan politics at its root, and Democrats have said that these provisions that are being added are poison pills, that they're not necessary, that federal law already bans foreign money in these state campaigns that we're talking about, and that this is only being done to exact some sort of price for something that's been done by both parties without rancor or without really any sort of special attention or note over the last few years that it's happened.
Well, certainly an interesting situation, especially as you have a Republican governor forcing essentially a Republican-led legislature to do their job. So thank you so much, Henry, for your reporting.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.